Now let's talk about groups. So we have seen algebraic structure. So algebraic structure means closure property, and from there we have seen semi groups, and semi group means associative property, and then we have seen a monoid. Monoid means there should be an identity element. Now from monoid we are going towards group. A group is a monoid, is called a monoid, sorry, a monoid is called a group in case if every element is going to have an inverse. So what is inverse is, if I take an element and if I take its inverse and if I apply the operation, then the result should produce the identity element, right? That is why identity element is important before we talk about inverse, right? Similar to that concept of lattices, where we need the bounds before we talk about complements, isn't it? So similarly here, identity element is important before we talk about the inverses. So don't get confused here. Simple concept. What is it? Algebraic structure, which means it should be closure property should be satisfied. Semi groups, associative root should be satisfied, and monoid means it should have the identity element, and then group means every element should have the inverse, right? So let's see the definition here. A monoid, which means a group has to be first a monoid. That is why I'm coming this way. A group has to be first a monoid, then only it can qualify to be a group. A group means a monoid S comma star with identity element E is called a group if to each element A belongs to S, there exists an element B belongs to S such that A star B equal to B star A equal to E. The element B is called inverse of an element A, indicated by A inverse. So what does it mean? If a group has to be monoid, then it has to satisfy these properties, right? So what is the property? Every element should have an inverse. So now let's get, I'll explain you here. Will the set of all integers with the operation plus, is it going to be monoid or not? First of all, it is closed, isn't it? Therefore it is definitely algebraic structure. Second thing is it is associative. Which one? Plus is associative, therefore it is semi group. And next thing is the identity element exists. What is the identity element here? Identity element is going to be 0. So since the identity element exists, what is 0? 0 exists, that is why it is monoid. Now we should talk about inverse. Now if I have an element A, what is the element with which I should add it so that I can get a 0, isn't it? So identity element is 0. What is the element with which I should add so that I get 0? So in this case it is going to be minus A. If I have A here, if I add minus A, then I am going to get 0. That is why it is monoid. Oh, okay, it is group. So in this case, since for every element there is an inverse, we can say that this particular monoid is a group. Now let's talk about set of all rational numbers with the operation multiplication. Now we know that set of all rational numbers is closed, isn't it? And we have the identity element. So for multiplication, what is the identity element? 1. So let's see if you can find out the inverse, which means if I have an element A, what is the element that I should multiply this one with so that I get the identity element 1. So it is clear that this particular this particular inverse, what is the element that I should multiply with? This particular element is nothing but, B is nothing but 1 by A, which means inverse of an element A is going to be 1 by A. So for every element A, if you have the element 1 by A which is present in the set Q, set of all rational numbers, then we can say that it is a group. But the problem is Q contains all the numbers including 0. Therefore even for 0 also the inverse should exist. But if you try to find out the inverse of 0 using this rule, you will get that inverse of 0 is 1 by 0. So but 1 by 0 does not exist. So 1 by 0 is not present in rational numbers. It is infinity. There is no number called infinity. Got it? Therefore since for 0 we don't have inverse, we cannot say that this particular set is a group over this operation star. Now when will it be a group? if there is no 0, isn't it? So if there is no 0, let us say from the set of all rational numbers we have pulled out 0. Let Q star represent set of all rational numbers without containing 0, the remaining all elements, right? And now in this case, with respect to multiplication, what is the identity element? Identity element is going to be 1, we know that. Now if you have a element b, what will be the inverse, which means what is the number I should multiply this one with so that I get 1. Again I see that b equal to 1 by a, which means inverse of the element a is 1 by a, and in this case for every element a, 1 by a will definitely exist. 1 by a will fail to exist only when a equal to 0, but then a equal to 0 will never occur because we have removed that element from the set. Therefore for every element in Q star there is an inverse, which is nothing but 1 by a. If the element is a, the inverse is 1 by a. Got it? So it is already a monoid. Now we have found that every element is going to have inverse, and so it is going to be a group. So definitely it is going to be a group. Now let's see the next one, this one, power set of A and union. So what is the identity element here? Identity element here is phi. Now if you have a set X, what is that you should apply union with so that I get phi? If you have already a set and if you are trying to apply union, there is no way you can ever get phi, isn't it? For example, if you have a set like this A, and what is that you want to apply union to this A with so that you get phi? So if we apply union, something will get added to A. We can never delete A. There is no element called minus A here. Therefore for all the elements there will be no inverse. So since inverse we are not able to find the inverse, this cannot be a group. That is how you should identify it. So don't get confused here, simple concepts. So whenever in the exam they ask you whether a set is a group over a operation or not, then you have to come in this order. First one is it should be closed, and second thing is associative property should be followed, and third thing is there should be an identity element, and fourth is for every element there should be inverse. Got it? So for every element it is important. For every element there should be inverse. Then only if all these four properties are satisfied, then only we can say that some particular set is a group. Got it?
Hi, if you are planning to do masters, then doing masters abroad is better than doing masters in India. I'll give you all the reasons. So first reason is, out of 1 lakh students who take GATE every year, there are only 500 seats in old IITs. So all the IITs put together have an acceptance rate of 0.5%, and IITs, universities better than IITs, they have very good acceptance rate like 30%, 40%, but all the IITs put together have an acceptance rate of 0.5%. And if you are working hard to get into IIT Bombay's ranking is 177 and IIT Roorkee's ranking is 400. If you are happy to get into IIT Roorkee, then getting into universities better than IIT Roorkee is easier compared to getting into IIT Roorkee. And looking at the salaries for computer science, for software jobs, if you have done your masters in computer science in US, the salaries are ranging from 80 lakhs per year to 1.2 crore per year. So even if you take an average of 1 crore per year, your savings will be much higher than the salaries in India. After taxes and your cost of living, you can easily save 40 to 50 lakhs per year. And in India, the maximum jobs that you get is around 30 lakhs. So your savings will be much greater than the salaries in India. And these are all the services that we provide. University shortlisting. So depending on your profile, we will shortlist what are the universities that you have to apply, and statement of purpose building, and then LOR guidance, and GRE and English test assistance, and education loan assistance. So you don't have to have any collateral, which means without any security now you can get education loan. Getting education loan is very simple these days, and whatever the amount of fee that you have a range of universities. You can apply for 10 lakh universities, 20 lakh universities, or 50 lakh universities. But whatever it is, you are going to get complete education loan, and you can pay off your education loan in 1 year after you get a job. And then we do visa assistance, mock visa interviews, and then connecting with the university alumni. So now you might ask why we should join Game of Visas. So the answer is we have 90% success rate, 99% success rate. And these are all the destinations that we guide the students to. So we guide students to any country that you want to go. So now it is not just USA. We guide to UK, Germany, Australia, Canada. So we guide students to all the countries. We work with all the destinations. And if you are interested in going abroad, you have to just drop us a message on this WhatsApp number 9494 555 454. Okay, thank you.